Well, good morning and welcome to another week of reflections on the Psalms. Today it's my turn, and today our psalm is going to be Psalm 34. It's a wonderful psalm, so without further ado, let me just read it to you. I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. My soul will boast in the Lord. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. This poor man called, and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his saints, for those who fear him lack nothing. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Come, my children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Whoever of you loves life and desires to see many good days, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking lies. Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. The face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to cut off the memory of them from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted, and saves those who are crushed in spirit. A righteous man may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He protects all his bones. No one of them will be broken. Evil will slay the wicked. The foes of the righteous will be condemned. The Lord redeems his servants. No one will be condemned who takes refuge in him. And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, to begin with, let me make some general observations about the psalm, before then perhaps choosing some of the verses to focus in a little bit more detail. First of all, what we see here is another psalm by David, which is a response to God's goodness to him. God had got him out of a tight spot when he was desperate, and now David wants to respond to that goodness by thanking God for his blessings. David had called out to God for help, and God had heard and responded to that call. So the first thing that we gather about this particular psalm, Psalm 34, is that it is a song of thanksgiving from the mouth of one who had been in a situation of fear and threat, who had appealed to God, and who, as a result of that appeal, had now been rescued by God. And the obvious challenge to us this morning is to consider how God has blessed our lives, and to ask whether we always remember to thank God for those countless blessings that he pours into our lives every single day. Perhaps the second general observation I would make is this, that not only is it a song of thanksgiving, but it's also an unending song of praise. It's the elated voice of one who has been rescued and who now cannot stop speaking of the wonder and the miracle of what he has been given by God. It's passionate, it's heartfelt, it's an emotional engagement of David's mind and David's heart. His gratitude brims over into praise. This is pure worship. It's genuine, it's sincere, it's passionate and emotionally engaged, This stuff comes straight from the heart. Perhaps the third generalization I would make is this, that it's also a song of witness, because David is at pains to invite others to experience God's goodness for themselves. This isn't a person or a personal song of gratitude. It's also a congregational invitation. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. He invites others to look and to glorify him for themselves in a way that makes this both a personal and a public song of witness. And finally, perhaps in general terms, this is a song of confidence that reveals David's confidence in God. It's a confidence born of experience. David himself has been rescued by God, and he now is confident that God could do for others what he had done for him. Well, so much for the generalities. Let me just choose now some of the verses. And I would encourage you, when you have the time, to reread this psalm for yourselves, because there is literally so much in it. I've just chosen a couple of verses to look in a little bit more detail. I'll start with verse 1. Let me read it to you again. I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. You see, David is acutely aware of God's blessings in his life, and his automatic response is to acknowledge them and to be grateful to God for them. It's an enthusiastic, it's a heartfelt attitude of gratitude that leads to passionate worship of God. And it reminds us that what our worship needs to be like too. A truly personal, a truly passionate engagement of mind and heart in good times as well as in bad times. In this psalm, David reminds us of what our worship needs to be like. It's to be involved, not detached. In our worship, we need to seek God, to call out for God, to revere God, and to be thankful to God, and to place our trust in him. That's verse 1. Possibly my favourite comes at verse 8, where David says, taste and see that the Lord is good. This is an invitation, not a command. It's a warm invitation to draw near, to open our eyes and to discover how good God really is. And I wonder if we've ever truly reflected on what encouraged us to take our first steps forward in faith. I suspect that most of us took our first strides as a result of tasting God's goodness for ourselves. We saw how God had led us, how God had carried us through our own difficult times. We felt courage, we felt the strength that he gave us to handle and to cope in various situations and various crises. And I wonder if we can encourage others to come and taste and see that the Lord is good. I wonder how we could do that, how we could encourage others to meet with God and to invite him into their lives. And the other verse I would like to pick up on perhaps is verse 11. Come, my children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. You see, David said that God would protect those who feared him, and that those who feared God would lack nothing. But what does this word fear actually mean? It doesn't mean that we need to be scared or frightened of God. Instead, we are to show God respect and honour. Our fear of God involves being obedient to him. It means being respectful and reverential. It involves seeking and calling him, taking refuge in him, and acknowledging our helplessness without him. And to this list, David adds a number of other things. We are to keep our tongues from evil, stop telling lies, seek and pursue peace. Our fear of God must express itself not just in faith, but also in terms of our attitudes and in terms of our behaviour. Well, I hope you will agree with me that Psalm 34 gives us a great deal to think about. And there's so much more we could have said about Psalm 34 had time allowed. But unfortunately, time doesn't allow. Tomorrow we're going to explore another psalm, Psalm 35, and a warning. Please prepare yourselves for something very, very different. In the meantime, have a good day and